Have a really good think, because somebody you know could earn you a lot of money for very little effort. Think, who do you know that wants to buy a property in Spain? A colleague, a mate, someone in your family, a friend of a friend? If you know someone, go to welcome-estates.com and click the Refer a Friend link. If they buy, you'll pocket a nice chunky thank you from one of Spain's leading estate agents. T's and C's apply. All details at welcome-estates.com.
Hello, all you hardcores out there. How are you doing? It's Russ here from Porky's Corner. Today I'm joined by Terry. How are you doing, Terry?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. A lot to get through. First of all, we'll go straight in with this fight coming up with Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. The Americans are showing us how to do it, aren't they? Now we've got a guy here, 28-0, Tank. Garcia, 23-0. 193% KO ratio, over 83%. This is what we want, isn't it?
Mate, we've been discussing this for a while. The Americans do it better than us. And the easy excuse is to say that, well, they've got more people. But it's not that, Russ. It's that the Americans understand that you got to make money, right? And remember when Eddie Hearn was making fun of Al Heyman fighters not fighting that often? You look at Tank. Actually, Tank's put in a fair bit of work recently. And when he said he'd fight Ryan Garcia in April, we all went, yeah, right. But he's fighting Ryan Garcia in April. And it's not just him. It's on the Top Rank side. You've got, what's the kid's name? Jared Big Baby Anderson, who looks game for anything. Bob's got Keyshawn Davis. He's got Troy Isley. He's got all of this talent coming through. And he doesn't spread it out. They fight. All four of those kids fight together. Yeah. And I love that. I love that because we get to see it. And then, it's all anchored by Shakur Stevenson as well. And you're right, Russ. They are showing us literally how to do it. Because I think in this country, we tolerate the rubbish we're given. In America, they don't.
Do you feel that Eddie's giving... Bob Arum's giving Eddie Hearn the run around now? Do you think that Eddie's burnt a lot of bridges?
Yeah. And as much as people will talk publicly about, we can get deals done, the reality is people won't do deals. And if you've noticed, that's why Eddie has to get everyone in mandatory position.
Yeah.
Otherwise, as you'd say, Russ, he's going out with a begging bowl. So for Joshua to win a world title right now, he's only really got two options, right? He's got to get Joshua into a mandatory position, which means Joshua will probably have to fight again, or he's got to go with the begging bowl.
What do you think of this Saudi talk? Because they couldn't get one fight on. They mind three. Now all of a sudden they're going to get three, but two in one night. What do you think of it all, Terry? Do you think it's just lip service?
So I'm going to ask you a question, Russ.
Yeah.
Would you pay these guys out of your nation's fund, your nation's oil money, bearing in mind that that's got to last you forever and a day? Are you willing to blow all of that money on Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Usyk, and Deontay Wilder? No, you're not.
No.
And boxing fans, this is the thing. Boxing fans are stupid. Right? A lot of them are very stupid. Not all of them, but a lot of them are. They assume, and this is a mistake they make, they assume that people care about boxing like they do. The Saudis don't care about boxing. What the Saudis care about is, can we create a moment that has the eyes of the world on us? They only need one fight for that. They don't need three. So why pay for
like Rumble in the Jungle?
Yeah. Just like two biggest stars.
Thriller in Manila and that another one, wasn't it?
Yeah. They don't need three. They need one.
Yeah. Yeah. They're buying PR, aren't they, for the country?
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like Britain does it all the time. We routinely do that. That's why we've got the BBC World Service. We buy the love and affection of the world through BBC Worldwide and other things, the VSO, the voluntary services overseas and stuff like that. The Americans do it with the Fulbright program, where you can go to America and study and become, a believer in their ways. All countries do this in one form or other. So the idea that Saudis are doing anything dodgy is weird. but I don't see them wasting money. And you'd be wasting money on a lot of these guys because really we know who the two main guys are. Everything else is just a sideshow.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously. Do you feel that the Saudis will deliver? Do you feel they can?
I think they can. Do they need to? Is a different question, Russ. Why do they need to?
I don't know. Do you feel that they might, the British lot, the promoters, they might have gone out there, they might have been going out there more or less begging? I mean, these people will suss out desperate people, won't they? These Saudis.
Russ, you're essentially dealing with guys who make multi-million-pound deals every day. These guys are building towns and cities in their own country. They're putting out tenders for 5 billion quid's worth of concrete.
Yeah,
boxing's nothing to them.
Yeah, but I know. But when I see these big business people strutting around with Derek Warchizora in tow and all the rest of the Fruit Loops from boxing, I think to myself, are they clued up? These people, do they actually know what they're letting themselves in for?
Yeah, of course they do. Man, like having worked with guys from the Middle East, and I mean, spent time in the Middle East. They're smart, Russ. They are canny. Yeah, they are
like
canny.
Rico smart.
Well, yeah, and also Porky smart. Don't underestimate that, because if someone came to you and said, "Mate, we're going to spend this much of your money on a show," you'll rip straight into the numbers.
Oh, straight away, man. I know what we're coming in and going out, mate. I know what I have to do daily. Tonight.
Yeah, so look, I think the Saudis will do one fight. I can't tell you which one that is. It's one of two options for me. Actually, no, it's probably one of three options. It's either going to be Joshua Fury, because that's probably the biggest one in terms of just raw numbers. Joshua Wilder, for just the sheer spectacle of it, or Usyk versus Tyson. And I think Usyk versus Tyson is number 3 on the list, because the Undisputed thing's neither here nor there.
Well, I'm hearing numbers being bandied about as 40 quid pay-per-view and projected pay-per-view 2 million buys from the UK alone for Fury and Joshua. That's the numbers they're talking. 2 million buys in UK. That'd be a record, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but you'd pay it.
We pay 40 quid. 2 million people would pay 40 quid.
I think so.
Well, that's a lot of money pot. And then you've got all other TV revenue from around the world. So there's a lot going into just for that one fight alone.
So the global revenue is generally quite small. So if you remember Joshua Ruiz 2, DAZN only paid 4 million quid to air that in the States.
Yeah.
So it is, the numbers that get bandied about are never the real numbers. Because if they were the real numbers, Russ, don't you think the inland revenue would be having a little sniff?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course they would. Boxing, isn't it?
Yeah.
They like to look at everybody's books. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just think there's a lot of money at stake here. So why just... There's that much to earn. They could do it in UK, couldn't they? I mean, how many people are going to be able to afford to go to Saudi? Do you know what I mean?
So here's what I think is happening, and this is just off bits and pieces that I've heard. So this is all theoretical, so take it how you want. They want Saudi to just drop $250 million. Yeah. Right? Guys, here's $250 million. Yeah. We need these guys here and you lot to put the show on, but we're just going to put the money in the pot. We will work out how to monetize it. That's the deal they want, because the promoters don't want to work to make this money back, because they know they won't make it back. This is like the last big cash out for a long time.
Yeah. And you've got to say, Bricktop's come from nowhere to be dining at that table, hasn't he, really, last few years?
Yeah, but how many years have you and I done this? And we've talked that he's been building slowly for this moment.
Oh yeah, you said it 3 years ago, didn't you? After he beat Vladimir, you said watch Bricktop rebuild now.
Yeah, and you were watching it. He got Joyce, he got Dubois. There was a time when Joyce was going to go over to Matchroom, but Frank just hunkered down and said, "No, I need to keep this guy." He moved yard in
He
position.
wasn't
He's moving.
sure what to do with Joyce, were he, at one point? You could see, couldn't you? He was etched all over his face, wasn't it?
Yeah, because Dubois was the guy that he was backing to do everything, kind of like he is with Moses the Talma now. And then Joe upset that. And then Frank was smart enough to go, that might be the guy.
Hey, listen, Joe Joyce could reign for 5 years. Don't be surprised. I mean, people's bodies change in ages and stuff like that, don't they? And he's a big old strong lump, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah, he's a one-off.
Do you see this fight with Zhang, Terry, as like George Foreman, Ron Lyle affair?
No. I always got the feeling that Foreman and Lyle were just horrible, horrible men, like real hard men. I think these guys are good, solid men who can box. I think we're going to see that.
So it's like a mini Foreman Lyle.
As close as this generation can get, yeah.
Because I see a lot of Foreman in Joyce, do you? A bit crude and that.
Just thinking about that, I think Foreman Lyle, for me, would be Joshua versus Wilder.
Would it?
You know that feeling that as soon as one of these lands, they're falling over?
Yeah. Because Ali had already put hands on Foreman by that stage, hadn't he?
Yeah. So as I can see that Joyce is more, he's got that kind of Ray Mercer-ness about him, hasn't he?
Yeah. What do you see happening with Dillian, Terry?
This is tricky. Okay, so let's deal in what we know. He hasn't posted a single video of himself training in a long, long time.
No.
He looked heavy when he was on TV last. He looked like he was best part 20 stone.
Yeah, he looked big, didn't he?
Yeah, so he's not training. He hasn't talked about a fight date. And I'm just going to leave it there.
Yeah, well, I think that he's got to start making his own moves now, hasn't he? He can't rely on Hearn because you'd say all roads are leading to him and Del Boy in a trilogy now, wouldn't you?
If that's the case, when is that happening? No one's talking about that. Derek's given no indication that's what he's fighting. That's who he's fighting next. I just think there's something we're not being told here. Because Dillian fought when? November?
Yeah.
So he'd need to be fighting in June, July. And if that's the case, Hearn needs to start talking about Dillian fighting pretty soon to get the public excited.
There's no happening though. There's no coming out of Matchroom about Dillian.
That leads us to have to wonder why.
It's all gone quiet on the Western Front, Terence. Isn't it? Well, it has, hasn't it? I mean, I thought Dillian Whyte was blue-eyed boy. Matchroom. But is he?
Because there's still options for him.
Yeah. All right.
There's still fights you want to see Dillian involved in.
Would you like to see Dillian Whyte against Fraser Clark?
No.
Oh, if Big Fraser beats Wardley, he's going to be at Mixers like a British champion in his 7th fight. That's how they're going to Big Fraser up. So you could say it's Big Fraser versus Dillian Whyte, the can man. What do you think?
I don't see Fraser Clark beating Fabio Wardley.
Don't you?
No.
Why not? Not seasoned enough.
I just think once Fabio sets about him, it's going to be too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's the thing that I was going to say, because if you look at, like, in person, Fabio's he's a big lump, right? Like he's just a naturally big guy. Like he doesn't look like a guy who has to eat a lot to get big, but he's solid from head to toe. If you look at Fraser's quite solid up top, but not necessarily solid down below. And I can see just Wardley, I can see Wardley doing a number on him.
Can you?
Yeah.
Do you know if Joshua is parked up though till December, Terry? How's that going to affect him being inactive?
He's been inactive for a while. Last time he fought twice, Russ, was the Ruiz year.
Well, if he
That was
fights
last.
in December, that's 4 fights. He'll have had 4 fights in 4 years, and that'll be his fifth. Entering his
Yeah.
fifth year. So, you know, he's not active, is he? Really, 4 fights from 4 years.
None of them are active.
Fights in December, so
Mate, none of them are active.
no, he's had. Go on, sorry.
I was say they're just greedy at the moment, so they're not going to fight unless it's the biggest possible purse, and they're going to keep just using the fans as their own personal piggy bank until fans make a stand and say, actually, you know what, we're not going to watch this. The fans should never have watched Chisora versus Fury. Should never have paid for that. But when they paid for that, it told Tyson Fury he can fight anyone, and the fans will show up.
Yeah, they did, didn't they? And Tyson has a spotted that. He'd been all over it, wouldn't he? He said, are they crazy, these lot, or what? They pushed that out and got away with it, didn't they, with Chisora?
Yeah, he showed that boxing fans talk tough, but really when it comes down to it, just they'll do as they're told.
Mm.
Even the hardcores. I know people go, oh, only the casuals did that. Only the casuals. Even these people that call themselves hardcore, mate, they fell for it. They fell for the okie doke.
Yeah, well, Joshua's had 3 fights since 2019. No, he's had 4 fights. Sorry, Jermaine Frank. He's not really active. Just looking at
Pulev, Usyk, Franklin.
Yeah, that's all he's had. He's had 4 fights, and in December it'll be 4 years. 4 fights, and then he goes into a fight with his next one, so that'll be his 5th. So, like I said, he's not active, is he? Really? How is he a throwback fighter?
He's not.
They said he were though, didn't
they? Yeah, mate. This is where we're at in boxing, isn't it? This is exactly where we've ended up.
He's 30. He's 34 in October, Joshua.
Yeah, but it's not his age that's the issue. It's the training miles he's got, the camp miles that he's accumulated. That's what's going to start getting to him in the next year or so.
You reckon?
Yeah.
All right. Wilder. If he fights Joshua, what happens, Terry?
I think Wilder knocks him out.
Yeah, because if they do this tournament, there'll be a couple in the tournament who didn't fight each other. They might have to fight for a 3rd place or something. There'll still be spin-offs of it. They'll just keep spinning it on and on and on like they have done since time begun, won't they? But I just think if Wilder gets in with Joshua, he'll end up on planet orbit with them 100 that John Fury did on Hard Road. You know what I mean?
It'd be a scary fight. But maybe that's the kind of fear Joshua needs to perform. I don't know. I'd like to think that's the case. I'm being optimistic and saying, yeah, that's what will bring the best out of Joshua.
Speaking of Big John, what did you think to Calla going up to Morecambe for a sit down with Big John?
About what?
Regarding Tommy Fury moving forward.
Oh, man.
Oh,
man. Just, it's not for me. That's as honest as I can be about it. It's not for me. Because which route is Tommy going down? Because he's got to choose a route now. He's either going to try and be a serious light heavy.
Well, Calla's got something to do with KSI in it, and in Nissy, the guy that's to do with British Boxing Motor Control Licensed Board Fighters. Have I got that right?
I have no idea. But Nissa Sowland, I think, is the one who seems to be more UK connected. And then it looks like Calla does kind of everything else.
Yeah. What about David Adelaide? And, you know, where's he mixed now? Because he thought he was going to get one. And now that it's Clark getting it, big phrase, it's Big Phrase. Now that it's Big Fraser's getting it, does David Adelaide fight White Rhino in like a box off at next shot at British?
Well, number one, credit where credit's due. You are one of the first people to put the world onto David Adelaide. So you should, take your flowers when you can.
Thank you very much.
Let him fight Solid Acres.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good Solomon Dakers. Yeah, that's a good fight, that,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah, but Dave's wanted to get back in, mate, isn't he? White Rhino.
Who wants to see him?
Well, I mean, he's taking it serious.
No, who wants to see him, Russ?
Well, I don't know. He needs to get
There
some
you go.
fights on board, doesn't he, and get it mixed, doesn't he?
When's the last time he fought?
He fought a few weeks ago in Malta. Max were ringside.
Look, says it all. Like, well, he doesn't have ambition. Maybe the money's running low and he needs a quick top up. I don't know, but if he was ambitious, he'd be in that mix already.
It'd be a good fight for you, do you think?
Will we ever see Huey again?
Yeah, he was back training. He's 19 Clem.
He's 19 what?
He's 19 Clem is filled out now, Huey. Got his man strength.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Let's see if he can hold that weight. It's better than 17, isn't it?
He was like 16 something when he fought.
Yeah, he's 19 now. He's 6'6.5", Huey. So he's a unit, isn't he?
No, he's not. He's not a big guy. He's not a naturally big guy.
He's a big guy now.
And I always think that's disadvantageous. I don't see the point of people getting that big. I said that about Fraser Clark. What was Fraser, like 19 stone something when he last fought? 271 pounds. Why?
He looked like a giant Easter egg, didn't he, Fraser?
Yeah, I don't think any pro heavyweight should be coming in more than about 18 stone tops.
Joshua were 18 stone 4'1" is 6'6" overnight.
That was too big. Generally considered to be too big.
Yeah.
You look at Joe Joyce, and even Joe's come in kind of heavy for this one.
He's light though, isn't he? He's just not took 15 pounds off, hasn't he, Joyce?
Yeah, but he could come down if he wanted to. It's just that he's fighting Zhang, and Zhang's coming huge.
Yeah, he's a lump. That Zhang, isn't he?
Yeah, that's what 19 stone looks like.
Do you think if that Zhang beats Joe Joyce and he gets in front of Mike and he goes, touch it, get Zhanged, do you think if he does that, do you think that he'll become like famous?
Man, he's from a country of 1.4 billion people. He'd be a hero.
Yeah, if he did Joe Joyce, could you imagine all T-shirts that they'd all be selling on YouTube? Chat shit, get Zhanged. It'd be unbelievable, wouldn't it? It'd be like a superhuman star, wouldn't he? They'd all want to fight over in his country, wouldn't they then?
Yeah, you'd hear everyone talking about, we need to fight in China. We need to sell paper.
You'd get Derek Chisora, wouldn't you? And Sam Jones and Dean White and them running around with chopsticks, wouldn't you?
Maybe not Dean White. Like Dean's building his operation in southwest London.
Well, you know what I mean? All people are out fringes, of it. Well, he's a promoter now, isn't he? In his own right, Dean. So
he's literally the Black Porky Russ.
Would you get Big John Fury running around over there? You would, wouldn't you?
Johnny Fisher's dad would be around there.
They'd all be running around with Bruce Lee T-shirts on, wouldn't they?
And it goes to show, right? Boxing. I hate the sport sometimes, man. I'm not gonna lie. I hate what the sport's become. I love all the amateur stuff. I'll always love that because there's an honesty to it. But this pro thing, it's so cringeworthy when you see how people just basically whore themselves out.
It's awful, isn't it? Saying it, grown men, isn't it? Like I keep saying. I mean, I'm embarrassed, right, for, the people in the media, the people who I listen to on a daily basis and watch stuff. And eventually I do catch up with most things. I have like a couple of days where I watch loads of stuff and I look and I think, and it slips and slides on a daily basis. And I think that now it's got to the stage where people are like, hang on a minute. We're going round in circles, aren't we, with it? It's the same old script. Like, you know, I said the other day, anytime now you're going to get Big John and Tyson, and then they're going to be in some gym doing something for charity, or you're going to get some Eddie Earn fake announcement like this Joshua thing till December. I think it's a smokescreen. They can't do that to him in his prime years. If it is, he must be shot to pieces mentally. Or there's something they're not telling us. Which brings me to Patman's video. He's asking the question, has he failed a dope test? Now, what do you think for that?
No.
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 If he has
No.
failed the dope test, though, will the whole stack of cards come tumbling down?
Right. So this is all you can say realistically. If he failed the drugs test, he'd be fighting twice this year. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you've got two options. You can take a voluntary suspension of your license now until the thing clears up. And if you are guilty, you get time taken. It's like being on remand, essentially. Or you go, right, forget this. I'm going to carry on. And when the hearing happens, it happens. I just think it'll be too much damage for him to fight when the thing's pending. And it would be pending. So I don't see that. He's out on Dubai at the moment.
If he did fail it, though, would Eddie cover it up if he did fail it? Because Eddie's got form for it, anyway. Conor Ben one and Dillian Whyte one, and plus others we don't know about. Allegedly.
So you can't cover up a failed drugs test because it's not controlled by the board. It's not controlled by the promoter. It's controlled by the National Anti-Doping Panel.
So if that's the case, then that man's just throwing something out there that's nonsense. Then,
yeah, I just like, when would he have failed the test? Do you know what I mean? Like no one interrogates these things because they're so quick to just jump on it and go, yeah, I'm glad Josh failed the test. When would he have failed the test? We don't know. It can't be post-fight because look how long it took Amir Khan to find out.
Yeah, you know, when you look at it, Terry, from outside, right? Look at how it's all started. Joshua has been manufactured from day one. He had gifts at the Olympics. Everybody in the sport knows that. You agree on that? I do. All the way through, he's been manufactured. If you look at his last 15 fights, right? 15 fights. He's been against opponents and there's only been 15 losses. So looking at it on all the billboards, it looks like he's fighting top opposition, doesn't it? But he's slipped and slid through, and they've got through, and it's been polished opponents. They've been like good fighters, but not killers. You know what I mean? Kind of thing.
Wait. So
I'm saying no. The fraud's been committed from day one. The hype around it, and I always believe in karma, and it wouldn't surprise me if something does come out. Might not be this time, but if it comes out, because don't forget, Joshua must have a dark side. He was involved with drugs, wasn't he? And there's been rumours for years, aren't there, about him therapeutic exemption certificates, aren't there? But nobody seems to want to speak about all that, do they? Is that true?
well, you'd never find out about TUEs unless they leak out. So, for example, Russ, let's say you've got a thyroid condition, right? And you take T3 or T4. You just go to UK Anti-Doping and you say, guys, I've got this issue. Here's all the evidence from the doctor. I've got to take this medication. Once you're allowed to take that medication as part of a TUE, no one will know about that. No one will.
All right, then. Okay.
So I would say, I don't think
Joshua after the Olympics. Then he came back at 10 months later as big as a house.
No, wait, hold on. He did the Olympics at 106 kilos, right?
Yeah.
And I think he turned pro at about 112, 114, somewhere there.
Yeah.
Which I think, well, you don't need to be as quick. Probably he's not an unusually big guy for a 6'6" lump. He's in unusual shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's a big guy, man. Like, you know what? Here's the weird thing, Russ. You can go on holiday now to Miami, right? And you'll see 10 Anthony Joshuas now. That's kind of where the world's gone. It's crazy. But I don't think an operation like his is going to allow him to mess up like that. I wouldn't be surprised if they're not blood testing him themselves. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well, like I said, he's done well, Joshua, for limited ability, hasn't
he? He's got a record that if you had just added the names Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, whether he'd won them or lost them, you'd have said there's nothing more for him to do in boxing.
Yeah.
He's two names short of just having a complete career.
Yeah.
But the problem is those two names seem to be the ones he fears the most. That's what we hold against him. Nothing else, just that.
Do you think Joshua's a bit trashed to Fury?
He's a bit what?
Scared of Fury fighting him.
At that level, I just don't think you're scared of fighting anyone. I just think it's you're scared of the ramifications of losing.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Financial.
No, just being a meme. Imagine you go on social media, you become a meme. Do you know what I mean? And no one wants to become that. And I think deep down that's his real fear. His real fear is if he were to get knocked out by Tyson Fury, he could never jump on social media again.
Yeah, that'd probably bother him more than anything, because if he did, he'd forever have the Stig and his Fury Power WhatsApp group terrorizing him, wouldn't he?
Yeah, and I think that's what he's more worried about. I think a lot of these boxers are more worried about that than they are. Fighting's easy. You win, you lose, it doesn't matter. You just carry on. But it's that social media reaction, and maybe we all need to have a word with ourselves about how we react to people fighting and losing.
Yeah, well, what about when the fighters are charging X amount for pay-per-view and coming out with all that nonsense leading up to the fight? Often it's rubbish anyway, or 90% of it, but people buy into it, and they buy into what that person's putting themselves out as, don't they? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's dangerous, right? Because if you look at Tyson Fury, his fan base has become a bit cultish, and that they overlook so many things about him. They overlook the fact that this guy basically beat Klitschko and disappeared for a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Just left because he could. You know what I mean? He could have easily defended that belt, that IBF belt against Glaskov. Like that would have just been a 3-round job, demolition, done. And he would have been all right. I find that really interesting, like just to touch on the Fury thing. Everything he said since his comeback is, I need boxing, I need to train, and I need to fight. So when the IBF said you need to fight Glaskov, he was like, no, I don't want to fight. You mean like it's these contradictions that boxing his fans never really consider, but they'd hammer Joshua for the same thing. And I think this is where boxing's become dangerous. We've tried to sort of flirt with the idea of building boxing
like cult followings.
Yeah, we've tried to build these guys into like kind of Hulk Hogan type figures, haven't we? And it's sort of gone the wrong way now. Where
you're a Hulkamaniac. Oh, you're a Hulkamaniac.
Yeah, and I think what happens is, I think you take any 100 boxing fans, at least 60 of them would have been bullied, right? And so they project that desire to be strong and brave and courageous onto their favorite fighter. But because that's not who they really are, they can't behave like their favorite fighter would. And you see the nonsense that you do on social media. And we've all been a victim of it, of these kind of cowards and rats. But that seems to be the core constituent of most top boxers' fan bases, those scared little rats who love to hero worship a guy who can fight because they can't fight themselves.
Yeah. Do you feel that some comment sections, some of the I was reading a couple of a day on this. So I won't comment on them comment sections. I believe if you've got something to say, you should say it. But I'll read comments on some of these videos. I'm not sure if it was seconds out or something. And these two geezers on YouTube were going at it, and it were over 200 comments. Do you know what I mean? And they were back and forward over this split. And you could imagine it being in like a courtroom, if we were trying to decide who was telling truth, Usyk or Fury, and this went back and forward, and all the characters' names got put into the mix: Bricktop, Bob Arum, Wilder, Eddie Hills, Big John Fury. You put them all in mix and stir it all up, and this one guy just kept saying, "Look, I believe Usyk. Who believe rest of them?" And if you look at it in a court of law, if they went on past whatever's, Usyk could believe him all day, wouldn't you?
I don't believe a word of it of either of them. I don't even care, to be honest. Either sign the fight or don't sign the fight. I'll just watch whatever.
Yeah.
I've lost interest, Russ. Like, if Fury wanted to be undisputed, he'd be undisputed now. He doesn't want to be. He wants to drag this out. It's a payday. Like I keep saying to people, those tax rates in Dubai seem to be unbelievably high. So he's asking for stupid money.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not good, is it? I mean, he's going to be getting. We're going to get 100 million, aren't they? More or less, aren't they? This,
no chance. Not when everyone's had their little slice of it. No, boxing's just shrinking year on year. They may have done a couple of years ago. Boxing's shrinking, mate.
Do you feel, Terry, that there's too many people slinking into the sport and having a slice of cake? Where back in the day, you just trainer, wouldn't you, and fight?
No. Okay, so we've talked about this before. Who's going to eat when Fury fights?
Well, a little bit.
Fury's got to eat. Right, let's go through it. Fury's got to eat for sure.
Yeah.
Warren's got to eat.
Yeah.
Arum's got to eat.
Yeah.
Whoever manages Fury's got to eat.
Big John.
Yeah. Mick Hennessy's got to eat.
Mick Hennessy. Well, I'm assuming.
I've heard that Mick Hennessy still gets his tribute.
Well, good luck to him if he does. He earned it.
So that's a lot of people who need to eat, like just from the pot.
Plus 2 lots of tax.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people dining off Fury's plate, isn't there, really?
And so that's why you're seeing him ask for these ridiculous numbers to fight, because he's like, I need to clear a certain amount so I can retire.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to go on to part 2, kid?
No worries, mate.
Porky's Corner is proud to be sponsored by Spartan Site Solutions. They are specialists in civil engineering and demolition contracts for the construction industry. Interested parties should visit their website or contact Porky's Corner for a referral at porkycorner@mail.com.